Hey YouTubers, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to do request video part 2. I got a couple of requests yesterday, today, so I just wanted to kind of share those really quick. I really appreciate you guys doing the request as well, because as I mentioned before, I'm not buying a lot of vinyl right now. I'm not spending a lot of money, and this kind of gives me a good way to kind of keep in touch with you guys and give you something that you want to see, and give me the privilege of being able to share and stay in touch with you. So I really, really appreciate it. And again, if anybody has any other requests, feel free to ask. If I only have maybe one of the artists, I probably don't really show it. But I can have at least a couple of pieces to show you. But again, just ask me and I'll do the best that I can. I'm writing everyone's name down on the list and what they're requesting, so I'm going to try to just kind of go through and really address everyone. So again, I appreciate it, guys. So let's just kind of jump right into it. Well, actually, before I jump into it, let me show you what's playing in the background. I'm playing the Ramones, Brain Dead, which has the song that's playing in the background, Pet Sematary, which is from the movie Pet Sematary. Definitely one of my favorite songs by the Ramones. I know it's not as punkish, if you will, as a lot of their other work, but that song is just kind of, to me, a perfect mixture between melody, harmony, and kind of a pop punk mixture. It's kind of just a perfect song to me. So I definitely love them in general, but I certainly love that album too. So let me jump into the request. 5 different people asked for some things here. 2 of them asked for the same thing, so that's kind of nice. But Music Man 257 wanted to see my Chicago collection. I think you've asked about that before too, so I wanted to make sure I addressed that first. And here we go. Chicago, 1982 to 1989, right? Yeah, greatest hits. This has all their cheesy 80s stuff, you know, which I like. It's just, I mean, you can't deny it's cheesy. But this also is kind of a misprint or something. The track listing on one side of the album is off. But anyway, so that's Chicago's greatest hits. Chicago 17, definitely my favorite album by them from the 80s. This has Stay the Night and Along Comes a Woman, which is probably my 2 favorite 80s Chicago songs. This is Chicago 18, which has a lot of different stuff on here, including 25 and 6 to 4. And this is Chicago's Greatest Hits Volume 2. And that was one of the things that I really did not like about early Chicago albums, is they used to just put Chicago on the label. You got no track listing or anything. I would think that'd have to drive you crazy, especially, you know, back then maybe when you didn't have just the internet to go to and look up all this stuff, you know, just all the informational resources that we have with music today. That had to have been kind of frustrating, just to think, well, it just says Chicago, so let's wing it and go for it. But anyway, this is kind of a perfect example right here. This is Chicago, and again, it just says Chicago, Chicago on the side, Chicago. I mean, it's just like nothing. But it's Chicago, If You Leave Me Now. A lot of really good stuff on here. Like If You Leave Me Now, 25 or 6 to 4. Wishing You Were Here. So some good hits there. I saw a comedian one time that, I mean, one of the funniest things I've ever seen from a live stand-up comedian. And I've seen, like, literally hundreds, because I used to work in a comedy club for a number of years. And he made a joke about how 25 or 6 to 4, Green Day really ripped that off on Brain Stew. And then, like, the guitar solo part on a Basket Case was really Pat Benatar's Hit Me With Your Best Shot guitar solo. Or guitar rhythm, I should say. And he was actually playing guitar, so he was making a joke about it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I'll never forget that. But anyway, moving along, Chicago. This is 10, I believe. Yeah. And again, no track listing, just Chicago 10. So that's my Chicago collection. Music Man, hope you enjoyed that. Next, we're going to Chataway 2000 and Carapax. Hope I'm pronouncing those right. You guys requested my Depeche Mode collection. And I'm going to throw New Wave Girl in there too. I know she didn't actually ask, But I know she's a huge Depeche Mode fan, so somewhere deep down in her soul, she was yearning to request to see more Depeche Mode. So I'm going to dedicate this to her as well. And I'm sure you guys know her by now. That's my girl out in New York. Knows her 80s stuff big time. I mean, her name sums up exactly who she is. I mean, all the new wave 80s stuff, she is completely on top of it. But here we go. Depeche Mode, 1982, A Broken Frame. Construction Time Again, 1983. Depeche Mode, got a message. People are people. Depeche Mode 12-inch, People are People. And in Your Memory on the B side. I have that 7-inch too. It's kind of nice. Depeche Mode Some Reward, which also has a song, People are People. And then Depeche Mode 1981 to 85, the singles, which also has the song People Are People. It also has Just Can't Get Enough, which is one of their earlier songs that kind of strange, but definitely a cool song. And then Depeche Mode Black Celebration, which has one of my favorite songs by them, probably one of my top 3 favorite Depeche Mode songs, which is Stripped. And I like that song so much, I guess really the easiest way to describe it is it's such an intense song. Like the intensity level, the darkness that's kind of in there, as well as the sexuality that's in there. I mean, it's just one of those songs that can take you in a lot of different emotions in different ways. And anytime a song starts messing with me like that, it becomes one of my favorites. So they definitely did that with Stripped. I love that song. Probably the song that brought me to Depeche Mode, which is Strange Love. I remember back in the 80s seeing them perform that on some like MTV Awards show or something like that. All I remember was a guy in a bunch of black leather from head to toe, couldn't dance, the big black hair that came to the the poof in the front. And I remember his nose just being. I just remember thinking like something about that dude is strange but so damn cool. And then hearing the song too just sucked me right into Depeche Mode. So that was the first song/album that brought me to them. And here's the 12-inch, Strange Love. I have that 7-inch as well. And then the 180-gram reissue of Violator. Another really, really good album right there. I mean, here you're talking about Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence, Policy of Truth. I mean, just some great, great hits. And here's the Depeche Mode Personal Jesus 12-inch. With a nice little cover there on the back. I like slamming girls on their covers. Enjoy the Silence 12-inch. Policy of Truth 12-inch. And then this is what I was playing yesterday, and I talked about it a little bit. Ultra, which is a really, really strong comeback for them in the late 90s, like 97. I wasn't listening to Depeche Mode as much back then, but when they came back with this, I mean, they definitely came back in strong and kind of kept their sound, but it was still kind of updated for the 90s, and just makes a really good, I don't know if you call it a comeback album, but I just haven't really listened to them since the 80s, so that's my Depeche Mode collection. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Buddy Bopper asked about my Smashing Pumpkins collection. And let me show you the few things I have here. If I don't mess this up here. There we go. Alright. I only have 3 vinyls, so I don't have a lot on vinyl, but the ones I do have I think are pretty good. Because one is Sesame Dream, which is a really good album. It has 2 of my favorite songs by them, which is Today and Disarm. I've always thought Smashing Pumpkins, I label them as a hard alternative group. That's what I have in my mind. That's why I file them under. And I don't want to call them ballads, but I guess you can say hard alternative ballads. They did that better than any group I've ever heard, and that's always been the thing that's attracted me to them so much, is the way that they could take Billy's voice and just do all that slow, melodic, creepy, just take you to weird places type things. And like I said, Today and Disarm are two really good examples of that off of this album. Then you have Smashing Pumpkins' Gish, which one of those albums that kind of grew on me. I think this is from '91 or something like that. My favorite song on here is probably Daydream. And then my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album, which is Melancholy, of course, of which I also have, since I'm sharing kind of all of that, I do have the 2 CD set as well as the double cassette set as well, which is kind of cool. But I like showing that because I didn't know they had a double cassette of that album, but I guess they do, so I was happy to find that. But of course, I mean, this is just a fantastic album for the same reasons I just mentioned, you know, why Smashing Pumpkins is one of my favorite bands. Songs like Tonight and 33, that slow, melodic, creepy type stuff, and then songs like Bullet with Butterfly Wings, you know, stuff you can work out to at the same time. It's just a really good overall album. And between the music and the artwork and everything, this album just flat out gives me the creeps. There's no other way to put it. So, since I don't have a lot on vinyl, I thought I would show some of the other CDs that I have for Smashing Pumpkins. Which you got Zitus here. You can see there in that. 1979 single, which also has Ugly, Believe, and Cherry on there. And then Disarm, Low, which I do have on cassette as well. And then I also have Gish on CD too. So that's just some of my Smashing Pumpkins collection. So Buddy Bopper, that was for you. And last but not least, Rockin' Lupa at Rocking Lupa asked about my Michael Jackson, or just Jackson collection. So let me kind of jump into that. Got Jackson 5 here. That's Maybe Tomorrow. Michael Jackson Bad. Song for Song, a fantastic album. And it was kind of interesting too because Rockin' Lupa kind of pointed out, you know, June 25th of this year will be the 2-year anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. If you can believe it's been that long already. And as I've mentioned before, on the back here you kind of see some writing going on there. But whenever an artist passes away, that day I always go in and pull out their stuff in my collection and just kind of make some notes about where I was, thoughts that I might have had, feelings that I had, or whatever else. Just to be able to kind of reflect on it, you know, down the line, especially with artists like Michael Jackson, because, as I've said before, over the course of time, his passing will be seen on the same level as, oh my gosh, we lost Elvis Presley. Oh my gosh, we lost JFK. Oh my gosh, we lost John Lennon. You know, oh my gosh, we lost Michael Jackson. I mean, his stardom, as far as being world-renowned and loved by so many people, I mean, I would say he is as popular, if not more popular than anyone on that list I just named. So, you know, that's bad. And of course, that was the follow-up album to this. You can only imagine having 2 albums like that back to back. That's just sick. But I don't have to say anything about this album. It's thrilling. You guys know about this. The only thing I'll say about that is 7 out of the 9 songs went top 10. 7 top 10 hits on one album. 2 songs away from having an entire album where every song was in the top 10. That just says enough about Michael right there. And I know we all have our opinions about, you know, what type of music we like and things like that. And I love Michael Jackson, but, you know, if I had to choose to go see any person perform, like see in concert, he wouldn't be the first 5 or 6 or 7 people on my list I would go see. But if anyone ever asked me who is the greatest entertainer of all time, I automatically would say Michael Jackson. That's just how great he was to me. But Off the Wall, of course, his first solo album, you know, with the hit Off the Wall, as well as Don't Stop to Get Enough. And then a little Jermaine Jackson here. 2 great songs off this album, Dynamite, as well as Tell Me I'm Not Dreamin', which is probably one of my, not probably, is one of my favorite songs out of his solo career. That was a duet he did with Michael Jackson. And then I think this was his first solo album. I don't remember. But this has the song Let's Get Serious, the album Let's Get Serious. But the song Let's Get Serious was really good as well. It was arranged by Stevie Wonder. And then last but not least, I have Jackson 5. This is kind of part of their 80s comeback. And the most well-known song off of this one, probably Torture. Really interesting song, too, because that song really showed the greatness of Michael Jackson beyond just seeing him do his own thing. And what I mean by that is, on that song, one of his brothers sings the first verse. It wasn't Jermaine, it was another one. And then Michael comes in and sings the second verse. And when you listen to that song, listen to the first verse, it's easy to get the feeling of, this is just another 80s R&B pop type song, you know, nothing special, just what was coming out in the 80s. And then when Michael comes in on the second verse of Torture, all of a sudden that could have easily been a top 10 hit. You know, the song just went to a totally different level, and it really just showed, you know, how important and how unique Michael's delivery was, in the way he sang, and then just all the weird things he did in his singing, you know, the weird noises that he made and kind of made his own. And I've always said that too, and I'm sure some of you huge Michael Jackson fans will disagree with me, but if you ever listen to just instrumentals off of a lot of his albums, like Man in the Mirror is a perfect example. The instrumentals on that is nothing impressive whatsoever. It's actually to the point of almost being a tad bit boring, because there's not much to it. But as soon as Michael throws his vocals on there and starts with his, you know, na-nas and shinings, all the, you know, almost noises that he would make, it just became something so great. And that's what made that guy a superstar. Is it wasn't the people writing the music for him, it wasn't the songs that actually made him great. It really was him. You know, it wasn't a lot of stuff around him that turned him into a superstar. Not to be cruel, but like, you know, your Justin Bieber's and Barber, how you pronounce his name. I mean, you know, a lot of that is your marketing and all that stuff. Mike, it was really Mike. You know, everything came from him. So, just a very impressive thing to me, and I like to rant about it sometimes. But anyway, so there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Send me more requests. I'll try to stay on top of these and look forward to doing the next ones. All right, take care, guys.